Now you have to know what is the problem solving strategy. That equation we have discussed before at a wide belt level. Y equal f for x. Y is the outcome. F is the function for the input. يعني the inputs, we are working on it by functions, processes, to give the outcome, which is y. We will give the example of making a cake. X is the ingredient, the flour, the sugar, the eggs, the milk, the ingredient that you are making. They are mixing, baking, cooking, and then the end result, y, is the cake. The equation is the outcome, the cake, equal the functions, mixing, baking, cooking of the ingredient. Sometimes they said plus epsilon. Epsilon is the amount of variation that could be accepted by the customer, because every time you make a cake, it have not the same taste because of the function that you are going to do. You may change every time the temperature of the oven, the amount of the gradient. If you change the amount of the gradient, the tool, the function itself, that you may let it fragmented for a long time. So the outcome equal to the process of the inputs plus the epsilon, where y is the desired outcome, x is the input or factors or variables or elements required to create the outcome, اللي هي الفلور والشجر والايج والميلك and baking powder. F is the function of the process to be applied. Epsilon is a Greek letter, represent some level of error of the amount different due to uncertainty when the process is applied. This time the temperature of the oven is a little bit higher. You left it for a little bit longer. You at this time you find one egg is not good, so you put one egg less in that cake. So this is the problem solving strategy. The outcome means equal to the functions of the ingredient plus epsilon. This will give us the principle of determinism. The principle of determinism stated that all outcomes are determined by the way inputs are transformed in the process. So we look at the process and see how the process allows this variation. The process will change the input into outcome, and we look at the processes to find out what the cause that affect the input to different variation of the output. This is known as cause and effect philosophy. The inputs, process function, and error within the processes will cause the outcome to be a little bit variant every time. This is if you are going to make up that doll, it will be good. If you the processes, if you are taking long time in hair cut or put too much lipstick or whatever it is, it will give variation in the picture of it. زي عندنا في مصر ما بنقول لبس البوصة تبقى عروسة. And it differs, the outcome will differ according to the processes made on the input. There is some other quality approaches that you have to know at this level, which is TQM, ASQ, whatever the approaches is. TQM it is a system management, it is a focus medica tool we have discussed before. The differ in TQM, total quality management, that every member of the staff must be committed to maintain a high standard of work in his everyday according to the company's operation. It is one of the most popular quality methodology. It is adapted in Prince Sultan Medical Military City. Our main methodology application is Focus Medica, TQM. And there is certain video we have discussed before about the Focus Medica while we are discussing the A3 format, while we are discussing that video. The TQM relies on examining problems and proposing solutions that need to be accepted by the people in a democratic way. Here, the choosing of the project depends on the brainstorming, double voting or multi-voting, and then prioritization. It comes from the bottom. While in Six Sigma, it comes from the higher authority, where the higher authority listen to the voice of the customer, of external customers through the surveys and interviews, focal groups, whatever the tool, reactive or proactive, and they have the voice of external customer, and they have the voice of internal customers through what have been raised from the departmental managers, and they make the cost-benefit ratio using the Pareto prioritization index and choose the area to be worked on. This one comes from up, but in TQM it comes from the staff. It identifies good ideas, but does not necessarily identify the best ideas. This is their point of view, that they choose the best ideas because they are using mathematical way. And the cause of effect analysis in quality management usually ensure that better than existing processes are going on. Other approaches we discussed before also, which is the lean methodology. The lean methodology, we have said before, those who did not attend in first white belt training, the lean methodology focus on the waste. And the waste are three types: moda, mora, mori. And the moda are 8 types: the waiting time, الريدو, الترانسبورتيشن, الموشن, الأوفر بروسيسنج, الأوفر برودكشن. You know the other 2, unused talent, and I have missed one. This is my question now. Yes, thank you. In lean, you have 3 types of waste. In mora, unevenness of the work, that there is variation in the process, which has been done every time, not within certain limit, that the patient stated that I go to the hospital, I waited sometime 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes almost 1 hour. So unevenness of the process, this is the mora. The mori is overburdening, that you will ask the worker to do something more than they are willing to do, put them under stress. So we try not forcing them to do more than they can handle. The MODA, we said that it has two types. MODA type 1, which is non-value added activity, but necessary for the end of the customer. So we will keep it. And MODA type 2, it is a non-value added activity, but unnecessary for the end customer, so we have to remove. So if it is necessary for the product and the satisfaction of the end user, it is type 1. If it is unnecessary for the product to satisfy the patient, it is eliminated. But both of them are non-value added activity. Then International Standard Organization, ISO. The ISO certification usually focus on documentation. It usually confirms proper documentation maintained, kept accessible, and stored properly. This usually we are using in the administrative department because of most of their work is through documentation. ISO is a well-respected and knowledgeable business benchmark which demonstrates the intent of the organization regarding the quality production. So this is the ISO certification. Now, let us go through the history point of view, which is not a practical one, but some have said that you have to know. Quality improvement is to look at the way you currently do the business and seeing how you can improve it. It passes in a long history. In late 13th century, there was a handmade craft manuscript and guilds يعني نقابات. At that time, it was a manual manufacture and everyone is made one piece, sometimes good, sometimes not of high quality. So he has to sign on the piece he made because the guilds or naqabat stated that everyone has to put his name or sign the product he made, and it will be stamped by the guilds that this is the one who made it, and this is the idea of trademark. Start with Eli Whitney, who invented the cotton gin, ماكينة حلق القطن. He introduced mass production and interchangeable equipment part, and this led to significant improvement after doing piece per piece. In late 20s, 1920s, quality began to be driven by inspection. And then the revolution of Henry Ford. He began moving automobile assembly line. This further exemplified the need of part consistency. If sometimes broke, it will need to be repaired rapidly to eliminate assembly line delay, and we will show you what is the automobile assembly line. Then by the mid of the 20th century, Mr. Schwartz, the father of the statistical quality control, he introduced process control chart. These methods will collect and analyze data in a visual way to be shown by every employee and the staff. Then comes Edward Deming, who noted the management that he stated that the management is responsible about 80% of the problem. And his theory is optimization, variation, knowledge, and psychology. He take the BDCA cycle of Shewart and improve it into BDSA cycle and becomes more popular and he put down the 14 principles, and his methods is applied in Japan. After the World War II, he went to Japan because the military will not focus on quality, so he shifted to Japan, and his activities helped the Japan's recovery after the World War II. In Japan, Ishikawa, he is the quality management innovators that he is a key figure in the development of the quality initiative in Japan. The most famous Ishikawa fishbone tool that could be used till today. Joran, in 1954, he has his big Q. He has his big Q concept, defect elimination and cycle time reduction. And in 1970s, في سبعينيات القرن الماضي, the Japanese factories apply his principles and became more effective than those American companies. So in 80s, the American manufacturer realized that if the Japanese apply Joran principles, why we are not? And they start to apply it in Motorola and General Electric, and they improve their work. And now the latest era is the quality 4. And here you can find out that the continuous quality improvement since 1913, Henry Ford installed the first moving assembly line in mass production in car manufacture. He reduced the time for car from 12 hours to 1.5 hours at that time, but now Ford manufactures 16 cars a minute. He has 4 principles in his assembly line: interchangeable parts, continuous flow, division of the labor in between workers, speed, reducing waste. The left side is 1913 and the right side is nowadays in Ford. The continuous quality improvement is a continuous journey, and nowadays this is a quality for 11 axes of the quality, which is data, analytics, connectivity, collaboration, application development, scalability, management system, compliance, culture, leadership, competency. It is only for your knowledge. Quality is not about what you produce being accurate as you see, but it is the customer see it. Thank you for your time.